Alright, so we're back with another Caravan Stories Duels educational video, and it's gonna be against the elf man himself, Noire. And you know, these are always good duels. Like there's been very few duels that we've had where it's been just one-sided one way or another. So this should be interesting to see how this goes down. This naturally these are older videos until I can get newer ones out. See, they put duels like right at the time that I pretty much more or less need to go to sleep, so that way I can actually get some real sleep for work. And well, you know, it makes it very hard to want to duel when you got to wake up in the morning early to get to work. And well, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, let's get into. Me and Dory, like, we hardly ever get each other. Like, what? We get each other, like, I don't know, maybe, I would say 1 in 10 duels, but maybe not even that. So he's dropping Marine here, and I don't see damage cut, so this is looking like it's, but then she has her own personalized buff. Maybe damage cut wore off already. But yeah, he drops Marine here. I drop Kana. They're both relatively slow, so it still gives us. Now that is damage cut right there. My settings are just really low for whatever reason. There no, that's the art. Okay. So yeah, no damage cut at the moment, so we don't have to worry about that. We're gonna drop Tarantula. The idea being taking the AS for our tower here as well as Kana, so we don't have to worry about that. Hopefully, if that's how that plays out, which it did. We dropped it extremely early, so he's going to be coming up with something here to deal with Arcana. Otherwise, this Marine is just dead. He kind of just left her to die. I mean, fair enough. Not really. I mean, he got Valiant after. He was probably figuring out what he wanted to use instead. He might have used a Beast, but the cut-in might have removed it. Either way, that AS absolutely would have killed it. So he's going to drop Valiant here. Now, we want to drop Echo Nut basically before he even throws out his AS. Naturally, the walk it, but if we are late on that, at the very least, if you could drop it right after he grabs somebody, you can actually sleep him out of a good amount of his damage. Unfortunately, his Valiant is actually built being a whole elf master here, so Kana never stood a chance. But you can see the general idea here. I mean, he got maybe like half of his AS damage off maybe before he was slipped. So, I mean, reducing the damage by half is pretty good, especially if you can immediately clean them up, which we more or less should be able to here. It's a matter of, like, if we really want to, and because Kana has, Kana being a collab thing, one of her things being when she dies, she refunds you 1 cost there. So that puts us back up to max points. He drops Arbo right here. This is just going to kill off the Echo Nut. And I'm assuming that he knows this because he plays relatively well. So he's burning Arbo AS on Echo Nut. I guess it kind of works because, like, by the time that she gets over to this tower, it might be ready again. And here, Valiant's done for. Lamy doesn't have her AS. She has damage cut, so if Arbo doesn't have her AS by the time that she starts attacking Lamy and she hits Lamy with her NS, Lamy AS should be ready by that time and she'll just turn around and kill Arbo. Thinking about it, but we've also got Frog right here just in case. And Frog is just going to make sure that Arbo gets blown up. He's using all Holland here over here. The idea being to silence me out and try and pull me away from Arbo. However, we already killed him. So at this point, he's waiting on Hog's AS specialty buff to kick in here. The buff makes it so you only do like 1/16 of your damage while it's up or something. It's pretty good for selling people out. I mean, in theory, if you had her like LB50 or whatever, and then had that buff on, you could place her in front of Mikey and then just stall out his buffs and then kill him. Although that's some CS theory for you, and obviously they're gonna have to be relatively built to deal with Mikeys and whatnot. But that's just a theory, a CS Duels theory. Well, okay. So Lammy's getting silenced right now. Not that Lammy really cares. I forget that Hog has invincibility, Pierce. That's different. Thankfully, Lammy counter armor is kicking in, so now they're slowed, so the AS is going to be slower. Frog silenced, which is actually pretty good against Frog, considering all of his damage is from his AS. Pretty makes Frog only a quick spammer, which is still really good for a 2 cost, but it is what it is. Thankfully, we still had some damage cut left on Lammy here, so we didn't get immediately nuked by the fact. Our AS is also up again, so with Crystallize up, they didn't actually manage to get their special buff on them, so they're just going to get blown up here, especially at being 5-star. You know, you can respect the fact that he's trying to use the new alt as a 5-star in Duels. You know, respect for that. It just definitely was not going to work out in that regard. Now, the reason we drop Marine over here is because now that forces him to deal with this side. But then if he goes to when he's forced to deal with this side, now all of a sudden I've got a Frog and a Lammy that's just running around over here. So now he's down the tower, and he's forced to choose between which tower he actually wants to attempt to save here. Beautiful Lammy damage there, just so good. Why does she do so much damage to the towers? I don't know. I don't know if it's ever confirmed, but I'm pretty sure, like, ground only damage actually, or like ground attack only skills actually do more damage to towers. I can't confirm that because I don't know for sure, but I mean, Lammy just does insane amount of damage to the towers, and that's one of the aspects of that skill is the fact that it's ground only, which is very strange for a collab, but it works out for the fact that her AS is flying. But Frog's just going to burn all the van buffs right there. So now at this point, he might still be down on cost, so he's probably going to be looking to kill Marine, which would make sense. Marine's block here is probably going to wear off soon. If he really wants to, he can just drop Deer, and then he'll just run her over and then continue on the tower, which is why I have Sib working on it. It probably would have made more sense just to drop Ira if he dropped Indario and just had her kill him, but we'll see. He drops Kane's here. Now, Kane's still has her bug at the time, I believe, in which case that's a 0 cost drop, so obviously, why would you not? And then his build already on top of that. So, Lammy's probably dead here. I can't entirely tell if Frog has invincibility up. But if he doesn't, he's dead too. Yeah. Just really convenient that that bug just makes all Kane's 0 cost because of reasons. Aiming, I guess. I'm not too mad about it. I'm not... I mean, Ambry would be reeing from the high heavens right now. But we were already ahead to begin with. So I'm not too concerned about it. And here's what I was talking about with Deer and Dario here. Gonna just go ahead and run Marine over. Thankfully, she did get her AS off, so we are up 2 towers right now. Though that'll change relatively quickly here if I don't do something about it, but we're here for it. Alright, so we timed that drop perfectly for Sib, so Kane should be dead here, so long as it was enough damage. Yeah, she's dead, but it's also killing a 0 cost unit for a 5 cost, so that's already down 5 costs. Of course, that's because of a bug, so I'm not really too concerned about it, but yeah, that would be a far more impactful drop had that buff not exist, but it is what it is. And like I was originally considering earlier, had he had dropped Indario here, I would just drop Ira and then nuke him. Unfortunately, Deer still had his initial effect up, which gives him, I think, double damage on his AS, so still able to get that tower basically instantly for it. Unfortunate, really, but we're still up a tower. We also have Ira out on the field now at that, and really is only attacking unit. He is dropping all my roll here, so we'll see how that goes. Is it gonna drop Sib? Sib still has her block. She might live through it, although Restrict's gonna kill him. Also, that's not a full elf deck. Span hands out elf passes like they're candy. That's all I'm saying. Unfortunately, Restrict actually got Sib killed right there because most of the block would have been burned off, and then all my rolls NS does multi hits, so Sib was dead there. Basically because of Restrict armor. You hate to see it. Not really sure why. I mean, I guess Tarantula doesn't target flying. It still should be enough to pull all my roll away from my tower for a little bit here. But yeah, definitely could have been a better use. I don't remember if I had 5 costs when I had dropped Tarantula there. She might have still had damage cut at that point, in which case I couldn't have dropped Kana until that dropped anyway, so that way I could kill her. Makari should be able to kill her. She doesn't have invincibility pierce. It kind of depends on what I use to kill her here. Went for the Kana. She's dead. He's using a Bizu on Ira, which is fine. I mean, he can't go into melee range with Ira being Ira. So having a Bizu sit at Van while throwing her AS on her is a fine move. Actually enough to kill, although considering all of her buff decay started about here and she got all the way to the second tower, I'd still say that's pretty good. Yeah, he has a Bizu out. He did get the kill, so he should have AS up right here, which is why we're throwing Echo Nut. This is actually just CS trolling, actually, at this point, because Valiant doesn't do his pull here. But he also used a zero cost Alkane, so, in that regard, I think, I mean, actually, Alkane's, I'm pretty sure, is what, like 5 cost normally, maybe 4 cost. So, you know what? This seems that, CS paying me back a little bit right here. I'll take it. It moved him just into range of Con AS too. Oh, man. That hurts. Would it have changed all too much due to the fact that Valiant doesn't do any tower damage, more or less? No, not really, but it certainly didn't help, that's for sure. And now we have a Kana with Quick. And her AS is recharging, so that's pretty gross. Unfortunately, Arbo AS has enough to get through the veil there, and because he has that one tower, he was able to place Arbo as close as he was in order to make that happen. Although that will basically guarantee that Arbo's dead, and we do get a one sphere back for him killing Kana, so it's not the worst trade. We're still up a whole nother tower. You still got to take a whole tower here to even make it up to being even with us. He drops Hog right here. I'm not really sure why Frog died right there. Right, what happens here? He should have had invincibility right here. Unless this is actually silence right here already. Although he used his AS on tower before Hog even spawned in, I'm pretty sure. So, maybe a little unfortunate on my end there, because Frog should have been alive. Oh, never mind. I keep forgetting he has invincibility pierce. Yeah, no, that probably would have been enough to kill Frog. At 5-star, though? Although his AS does hit pretty hard. We have a Kari right there that's just going to blow him up. Except for the fact that he has a specialty buff on him right now, which is why he lives there. Here's us just waiting for Alkane's mimicry to run out. And timed it perfectly again. If we had timed it slightly later, they would have hit me with stop. Sib still would have survived at least one of them, and then by the time the stop ran out, she probably would have killed Alkane's immediately after, because she would have just AS'd. Right again, but it does allow me to go ahead and deal with her more quickly. Dropping all my roll force. This was too early of a Kana because as we can see here, the damage stop is still up. If I waited like 2 seconds, I could have killed this on my roll here, but I'm pretty sure she's just gonna kill Kana. Yeah. He's dropping Endario. We get... Man, that hurts. So, like, you knew he had to do something to take a tower immediately, so I knew Endario was coming, so I even grabbed Lammy here real quick, so that way I could crystallize him out of it, so he wouldn't be able to take tower like that. Unfortunately, drop lag's a thing, and, well, you know, was still able to get quite a good chunk on the tower there as a result of it. You hate to see it, but, I mean, it's just CS. It happens to both both players. It is what it is. We're going to go ahead and stun out all my roll here, so that way she can't do things. We have damage cut on Lammy here still for a second, so she should be living for a little bit. Yeah, she ended up living because damage cut's a thing. All my roll is still crystallized at the moment, so she's dead, especially between a Marine, a Lammy, and a Frog. So now we're just playing defense on this tower. We don't realistically even need to defend this tower because more than likely we have more tower damage on his back towers than he does on ours. So realistically, this is like guaranteed win condition right here is keeping this tower alive. Whereas if we really wanted to, we could just say screw this tower, let him have it. And then my back towers are probably healthier than his, and then just go for one of his back towers to guarantee that we have enough damage on the back towers. But also playing defense on that tower also works just as well, if not better, for the fact that we're actually playing defense, which means he has to come to us, so that way we can actually reactively protect it, as opposed to actively going after another tower. Because being overly greedy and overly extending yourself can definitely lose you duels right at the end here. Thankfully, not an issue for us. Frog doesn't care about Marion AS, so he's just going to go ahead and go over there. Arbo apparently had enough range to hit both of those, just Arbo things. We have Ira over here, so no way are they touching that tower. That was 100% vengeance armor right there. He dropped Hog. Hog really wouldn't have done anything. If anything, it was to do a little bit of tower damage, because I still have debuffless and status effect block. So he couldn't have silenced me. Invincibility Pierce, I don't have invincibility. It's only a 5-star. Hog feels like a bit more of a panic. I just need to get this tower down sort of drop here, and that'll probably more than likely seal the deal on this duel here. He drops 0-cost canes because, of course, he shouldn't necessarily be able to outright kill her, and she was just tanky enough to live through that, thanks through Veil. And because she was able to body block for the tower, we kept it alive. Even if he took this tower here, I'm like 99% sure we still would have won, because we have a Sib over here attacking his tower, as well as Frog doing baby damage to this tower over here. But I don't think he ever actually did damage to my back towers, so if it was based off of tower damage, I'm pretty sure we still would have won there. But we were able to body block hard enough to keep this tower here. So we got him. And yeah, that valve not working was a bit cheesy on his, for him there, but he also used, what, like 3 0-cost all canes, so, you know, a 15 cost compared to a 4 cost loss. I feel like one of us paid a little more heavily than the other. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. It was still a good duel at the end of the day. And we got yet another W. Anyways, appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys found something educational in there. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.